You know, Alfred Hitchcock's Vertigo is one of those rare films that feels less like a story and more like a puzzle. I mean, decades after its release, it still completely grabs our attention, right? It sparks these endless debates, and it's a masterpiece that just never lets you get comfortable.
And the real heart of that puzzle? It's captured perfectly in this famous line from film theorist Flora Mulvey. Her point is that the film is this perfect textbook example of the male gaze, but at the exact same time, it's taking that whole idea apart. It's a film that's basically at war with itself. And that's exactly what we're going to unpack today.
All right, let's dive in. We'll start by talking about why this film is such an unsettling classic. Then we'll look at it as a masterclass in the male gaze. After that, we'll see how it completely flips the script on that very idea. And finally, we'll ask the big question: why does Vertigo still have such a powerful grip on us today?
So first up, let's set the stage. Why is this psychological thriller still a film we just can't stop talking about? Why is it so foundational for film theory?
Okay, so on the surface, the plot seems like a classic noir thriller. You've got Scotty Ferguson, a retired detective with a paralyzing fear of heights, who gets hired to follow this mysterious woman, Madeline. But what unfolds is this incredibly deep, unsettling dive into identity, power, desire, and obsession. Hitchcock isn't just telling a story here, he's practically dissecting a psyche.
Now, if you look at Vertigo through one particular lens, it is an almost perfect, totally unapologetic masterclass in a critical concept we call the male gaze. It's basically Exhibit A for the prosecution, if you will.
So this term was coined by Laura Mulvey, and she argued that in a world shaped by sexual imbalance, the pleasure we get from looking is split. The man is active, he's the one doing the looking. And the woman, she's passive, the object to be looked at. And for Mulvey, cinema itself is pretty much built on this dynamic.
And the evidence in Vertigo is overwhelming. The whole story is told from Scotty's perspective. What he sees is what we see. We follow Madeline with him, we watch her, and we become totally complicit in his voyeurism. She's just this beautiful mystery to be solved, an image to be possessed. I mean, he literally reconstructs another woman, Judy, just to fit his idealized, fetishized memory of Madeline.
And this analysis really hits the nail on the head. The power structure feels completely one-sided. It's all about Scotty's obsession, Scotty's trauma, Scotty's view. The women are basically pawns in a game being played by men, which seems to totally validate that initial feminist critique of the film.
But, and this is a huge but, that is not the whole story. This is where Vertigo gets so endlessly fascinating, because Hitchcock does something that complicates everything. That powerful gaze, it starts to boomerang right back at the person looking.
I mean, let's really ask ourselves this question. The film seems to give him all the power of the look, but does it? If you look closer, the film systematically starts to take apart this idea of the powerful male hero, and it reveals something incredibly fragile underneath. And here's the moment it all changes. About 2/3 of the way through the film, Hitchcock does something really radical. He breaks from Scotty's perspective and gives us a flashback entirely from Judy's point of view. Suddenly, the whole deception is revealed to us, the audience, but not to Scotty.
And this quote from Tanya Modlesky just nails the effect of that narrative pivot. From this moment on, we know something that our hero doesn't. We're not comfortably on his side anymore. Our identification with him is totally disturbed. We're forced to watch him obsess over a ghost, while we know the tragic reality of the real woman standing right in front of him. This comparison really lays the contradiction bare. On one hand, his gaze feels active, controlling, voyeuristic. But what's his reality? He's passive, totally powerless against his vertigo, and completely traumatized. He's not a man in control, he's a man in crisis. The film is exposing the sickness of his obsessive gaze, showing us this rarely seen depiction of masculinity that is just fragile and falling apart. So, where does all of this leave us? Well, we're kind of caught in the middle, right? Between a film that perfectly embodies the male gaze and one that completely deconstructs it. And that's what makes Vertigo what some critics call a limit text. It pushes right up against the boundaries of what we think cinema is supposed to do.
The absolute genius of this movie lies in that very ambivalence. It seduces us with the power of looking, and then it turns around and shows us the terrible, profound psychological cost of that obsession. It shows that the need to control and build a female identity is ultimately destructive, not just for the woman, but for the man himself.
And the emotional toll is just immense. Judy is completely destroyed by being forced to become a ghost of a dead woman. Scotty is left totally broken, his obsession having consumed him from the inside out, and us, the audience, we're left feeling complicit in his voyeurism, trapped in the moral gray area of the simple act of watching.
We get lulled into this false sense of security, identifying with the hero detective. But then the film turns the tables. It exposes our own fascination as a kind of illicit voyeurism. The comfort of just being a spectator is stripped away, and we're forced to actually confront what it is we're doing.
And that, right there, is why this film is still so incredibly powerful. It's not just about Scotty Ferguson's journey. It's about the very act of watching a movie. It turns the camera back on us, the audience, and forces us to confront the power, the danger, and maybe even the sickness that can lie in the simple act of looking.